Field Day is right around the corner, so I'm going to focus on how to earn those Field Day bonus points. Now, there's many bonus points you can get. Obviously, the emergency power, which is standard, you can get 100 points per transmitter if you use a generator or any kind of emergency power. Another way to get some bonus points is to attempt to get some media publicity. Now, there's a couple ways you can go about doing this. If you go to the ARRL website, they actually have a whole section with PSAs that you can send off to your radio station, and there's even some just for Field Day, and there's a couple seconds at the end so you can tag the location of your Field Day event so you can get some visitors out there. Also, they include in your Field Day packet a sample letter that you can fill your information out on, and you're going to want to fax it for best success to your local radio, TV, and newspaper outlets. And make sure you include contact information because they just might want to stop out and do a story on your Field Day. Another idea is to have your event in a public location. Now, we all seem to go to the parks, but consider something non-traditional like City Hall. That will almost guarantee you'll get an elected official to show up, or a shopping center, fire station, school, any non-traditional place where you'll see a lot of traffic or a lot of non-hams that could show up, and you can help promote the hobby. Now, you obviously want to make sure you have permission to operate there. And you're going to want to make sure you have a public information table for when the visitors do show up. You're going to want to have a log for guests to check in, and you're going to want to have some kind of flyers or information to hand out if they're interested in Field Day. Or I created this flyer for anybody who might be interested in amateur radio. Now, I did go online and look for any classes in my area within the next 6 months, and unfortunately there weren't any. But if there were, I would have put that information on this flyer as well. Now, I'll have all these forms available on our Facebook page in case you want to download them for yourself. And once Field Day is over, when you send in your supporting documentation, you're going to want to make sure you send in your visitor log and copies of any flyers that you did pass out. Another way you can earn 100 points is to send a message to the section manager or your section emergency coordinator. Now, this involves sending a standard ARRL radiogram, and there's certain information that you do need to include, like the number of participants, your location, club name, things like that. If you want more information on this, I'm going to post a video on how to do a radiogram on our Facebook page. You can also earn up to 10 points for every message that you handle, either outgoing or that you receive incoming from your Field Day site. So get creative with it rather than send them to other hams. As your visitors show up at the site, why not ask them if they want to send a message, maybe to their wife down the street or to their old Army buddy that lives in the Philippines, and show them what ham radio can do. Now, here's a sample one. And again, more information on doing radiograms is going to be available on our Facebook page. So if you just do 10 of these, there's 100 points. Now, you can also get 100 points if you can make a satellite contact. You can also get 100 points if you can make an alternative power contact, like solar or battery. And Amanda's going to talk to you about those two items in a little bit. A really easy way to get 100 points is to make sure you designate somebody in charge of copying down the W1AW bulletin. Now, they're going to be repeating that bulletin throughout Field Day on phone, CW, and digitally. And there's the schedule. You get that in your Field Day package. Make sure that you take that copy down message and include that in your supplemental packet that you mail in. Another thing to do is an educational activity. At one of our Field Days, we all learned how to set up and use Skimmer. It was very educational. A lot of different ideas on what you could have somebody do. It needs to be a formal educational activity given to the other operators at your Field Day site or visitors as well. And it can't be just a bunch of people standing around watching somebody do CW. It has to be a formal educational activity. Want to earn another 100 points? Make sure your site is visited by an elected government official, or be visited by a representative of an agency served by ARRL, like your fire, EMS, Red Cross, things like that. Now, Amanda's going to talk about that as well. Now, here's where you can really rack up some extra bonus points, and that's with your GOTA station or Get on the Air station. Now, if you're a Class A or F group, with 2 or more transmitters, you can have a free GOTA station. And what free means is that it won't change your classification. Now, it has to be 150 watts or less. running from your GOTA station, and it can be HF or VHF, so why not make it 6 meters? Now this station needs to use a different call sign for the duration than your field day call sign, but they are going to use the same exchange, like 2 alpha. Now it can be operated by any person just licensed since last year's field day, regardless of their class. It can also be operated by non-licensed people, provided they're under direct supervision of a control operator. And you have to include the list of all ops and participants when you turn in your supplemental information. Now remember, any non-hams can only make contact with USA, Canada, or countries where we have a third-party agreement. So if you want to try and score the maximum amount of points with GOTA, you can have a GOTA operator who earns 20 points for every 20 QSOs. They can make up to 100 contacts, getting 100 points. Now you can do that again with another GOTA operator, and they can earn 100 points. Now remember, a GOTA station can only make a maximum of 500 QSOs. So in order to gain those 500 points, you would want 5 operators to each make 100 contacts. Now there's no points for partial, so if they make 19 contacts, you get 0 points. Now, if they were all under the direct supervision of a GOTA coach, and he was there with them the entire time to help them talk them through the contacts and answer any questions, and he did not make any QSOs and he did not perform any logging functions, then you doubled that 500 points to 1,000 points. And you can also earn 50 points by submitting your logs and information from field day through their web portal, and there's their information for the web portal. And obviously you're not going to be able to put everything in there. You're still going to need to mail them supporting documentation like photos with elected officials and things like that. Another way to earn some easy points is to have some kids at your field day. Now anybody under the age of 18 that makes at least 1 QSO, you're going to get 20 points, up to a maximum of 100 points, and that's if you're class A, C, D, E, or F. Now class B operations, that's with either 1 operator or 2. So if you're a class B 1 operator, you're only allowed 1 youth to get the extra points. If you're a 2 operator class B station, you can have 2 youths and earn the 40 points. Next is a brand new way to get 100 points, and that's utilizing social media. Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I set up a Facebook page for our field day group, and this is going to help generate excitement, get people to learn about field day, and maybe get people to show up at your site. And another new addition this year for extra bonus points is to have a safety officer. Put 1 person in charge as safety officer. They include in your packet this checklist. Now that safety officer is going to be responsible for making sure that everything on this checklist is taken care of, and he will need to sign off on this checklist, and that does need to be submitted with your packet as well. So if you make a good effort and try and do everything on this list, you know how many points you can earn? You can earn up to 2,550 extra points. Now if you're running high power doing sideband contacts, that's 2,550 contacts. Now unfortunately 10 minutes is not a lot of time where I could go into detail on a lot of this stuff, so you're going to want to make sure you read your rules to get any clarification you need on these bonus points. I'm also going to put a lot of this stuff up on our Facebook page, so look there as well. Something else you're going to want to do for field day is make sure you put the location of your field day group on the ARRL website in their locator section. So if you go down here into the locator area and click there and hit go now, and you're going to want to make sure you're logged in, and you can go in and add your field day site. Now it's pretty self-explanatory to enter your information as they ask for it above. It's pretty intuitive. If you do have a talk-in frequency, you want to make sure and put that. If you're going to have a GOTA station, make sure you fill that out, and make sure that has to be a different call sign, as I said before, for any GOTA station that you have. Then you want to go down to the map, and you're going to move that little cursor there to where your field day is located. And just keep zooming in and whatever and tweaking it till you can get it right on your field day location so people can easily find you on the ARRL website locator. and then you just hit save. And let's go see if it works. So I'm going to go ahead and put our call sign in up there and see if we can locate that. And there we are in green, and you can keep zooming in and just making sure it's in the right location. So now people can easily find our field day location.